Alright, I feel good with the tape. It feels comfortable. Batteries are set. Deep breath. I believe this is our December tape. I'm doing it, I believe it's January the 6th, because I wanted to relax, reflect, see all of the things throughout the year, be up on the mountain, and really be clear as a stepping off of a beautiful year of sharing. Subject material is based on, as you've heard me say before, how I am in the moment in time. It allows me to express senses and feelings other than just words. And words inclusive. When I sit here, I usually do some meditation before I even get into the tape, and that could involve anywhere from 1 hour to 2 hours. And I've noticed that occasionally I'll be saying something and I'll kind of drift in and out of my body, and I'll go, whoa, what was I talking about? And then it'll come back. And I noticed that the mountain has a really magnetic pull. I try to produce these tapes based in the same location because there are currents and energies, sort of like tides or waves, just waves of water as they roll in. And sometimes when I'm expressing a feeling, I will drift on those tides. I love that feeling because when I come back, I'm still within a unique state of clarity. Because you're ever expanding, you really begin to notice that you are the whole. You begin to notice that not only were you doing the tape, but you were experiencing things on top of the mountain. You were watching the birds fly. You were also a bubbling brook. You were also the castle crags. You were also waterfalls. And you begin to notice that you can hear and be and experience miles upon miles upon miles, and yet also talk into the tape. It's unique what it is that we as human beings are capable of achieving. When we meditate in the morning, I've noticed that a lot of individuals are going into a place or a state. And when you picture that, in other words, when it's translated to the person, that's how it comes through. You're going somewhere. And in this somewhere state, you have these different experiences, and you feel lighter, or you know these things, or you see these things. And I would like to point out that it's not places or states of consciousness that you go to. What you are experiencing is yourself. You're not going somewhere. That's you as you expand. Not only that, but you can feel that world and sense that world, even in a daydream. It's sort of like, well, I'm off into a daydream. It's like you're going somewhere instead of you are experiencing a part of your totality in that given moment in time in a very unusual way. You're not really going somewhere. That's you in an extension. As you begin to meditate, you'll also notice that there are feelings and senses with that. Open your eyes every now and then, take a look around, and let those senses be acknowledged. Now maybe opening your eyes isn't what you would like to do. So then at least pull yourself back into the physical plane by scratching yourself and acknowledging your physical as well as your divine, so that you can pull the knowingness through physically, knowingly, linearly, through feelings, knowing that you are these states rather than going into these states of consciousness. Feel yourself as you expand out. You have a feeling body. It's sort of like, you know that when you get little body rushes, you can feel the energy, and it'll come 1 inch to 1.5 inches, sometimes 2 inches off of you when your body shakes. And you can actually feel that wave. Okay, that's one of your sensing bodies. Tuning in on that allows you to see and feel in that level, in that dimension. Then there's a body that looks like sometimes it's almost a foot out. When you sit there and you're meditating, you notice that you're feeling more than just the physical unit. So it's that more that you're feeling is also you. It's not a place you're going to, it's you. And when you stay conscious of that on the physical plane, you will be able to begin to feel yourself as this extended state past the physicalness. Now, as you begin to focus your attention on that and use repetition to attain these things, you will notice that your spiritual awareness will also accelerate with that. Because as you begin to honor your extended state and begin to see it, it's sort of like that extra sense, that knowingness, something's coming into your field. As you begin to heighten that, the divineness or the spiritualization within that plane, which you are in wholeness with, will begin to enhance your insights into that you are so much more, which in turn supports you in your with your internal support system and helping you to grow so that you can see the reflection within yourself going, oh, I see, wow, I'm so much more. Wow, because I can actually feel myself out here. And your ideas, your physical mental body will begin to shift. You will accelerate your thoughts that, hey, I am this God being. Wow, I can feel myself extended out. I used to just think that was a state of consciousness or a place I slipped into. I didn't know that that was actually me. Just an extension of me, and how it comes out and how strong that divine part is within you. See, that's the realization and the acceptance of your divinity, that you are so much more, that the Spirit really is in you. You really are God. No kidding, no messing around. It's one of the simpler ways in which you can begin to help through thought, the way to understand yourself as more than physical, and yes, as the God wholeness. Little breath there. I'm going to take a break just for a second, because I'm going to look out the window here, and I'm going to just sort of let that particular piece of material sit there. It's something that you can go over several times, because it'll have many meanings for each of you as you begin to understand the feeling bodies and knowing that that's really you and how you just radiate as this energy. See, you are constantly radiating. You are constantly putting energy out. You are a sun. You are the totality. You are a creator. A sun is a creating aspect. It gives warmth. It gives growth. You are an aspect of thought. You put thought into action by putting feelings and things behind it. You really are responsible for all of the things that you think and say and do, because you're just really looking at yourself to see who you are. And as you begin to see that everything out there is your reflection, you can tune into that. You will also begin to realize that you generate worlds all around you. Whether you think that you are a person who impresses people or who doesn't impress people, your action is noticed by other people for whatever reasons. And they can reflect back to you clearly because they are each growing from their understandings and their lessons and their reflections of themselves. They are sons. We all are sons. Think in terms of space. Think in terms of God as space. And kind of blow yourself up into the molecular structure. And then look at the atomic structure, sort of. Picture it any way you want. It really doesn't matter. You've got some ideas on what atomic structure looks like. Just see it as a bunch of balls connected with Tinker Toys. And then take the Tinker Toys away and just sort of watch them rotate. Or just imagine in your head what planets look like when they rotate around the sun. Okay? Now, your atomic structure has a point of power like the sun. So basically your body are miniature suns because they're solar systems. It's one of the terms that I use in explaining the space as it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. As above, so below. Just as a thought, light is like a sun. So your body is filled with miniature suns and they're all radiating. And they are radiating whatever it is that you are directing. Therefore we are a sun. We create. We create life, just like the sun has created life and energy on the planets that came from it. We create life by using our thoughts to see who we are and what we are. We emanate qualities, and because we have consciousness, we have gathered physical structure around us and we call it a body. And what it is billions and billions of suns, and we begin to glow. Especially at the time of birth, because all of these little suns are bright and excited. They have no judgments on them, no evaluations. They're just pure beings, unconditional love. And then they grow, these little suns, and they keep shining. And slowly as the world begins to take its part on these little souls, they begin to get ideas and concepts. And it's not that we stop glowing, but that sharpness of that pure babiness is somewhat diminishing as we add ideas and concepts, which are important. And then our suns glow again because we go through exciting adventures and we see our creative thoughts and we grow. And life is an experience of growths, continuously cycles. And these cycles appear to be up and down cycles. Or positive and negative cycles. But they are just cycles. And we learn to grow. And then we learn ideas that we are light, and that we are God, and that we are totality. And these little suns begin to glow again. All of our little universes, because they're beginning to see and feel and experience unconditional love. They are seeing that the body that they have chosen is working to have this experience within inside of itself. And these little suns begin to shine within inside of you. And you begin to glow as a human being because you begin to see all of the energy that you've put into yourself. And that there is a spirit within you and that you are God. And that you can use all of these different pictures for visualizations to see yourself, to expand yourself. These were the things that I had done over this year in forms of accelerating my growth and helping my growth. So basically it was just a series of thoughts with pictures behind them that you could take any thought or picture, or so far anything that I've done on this tape. It's sort of a little wrap-up of the things that I would do in the meditations right before I would talk to you on the tapes. And I figured because I'd never told you what I had really done before that, I'd share that. I would use all of these different little visualizations from time to time. Sometimes I'd see myself as the sun. I would see the chakras shining off of me. And I would breathe through these little suns. Because suns are creative, and I know I am creative, and I know the universe is creative, and I know the most extensive power is the sun for creation, and I know that the human species has worshipped the sun, and I know that there are magnetic forces and electronic forces, and all the metaphysical forces, and all the metaphors that go back and forth with these things. I know that we create as well as all things create. I know that as we allow ourselves to see ourselves from all of the different aspects, we will begin to have more of a linear feeling that we have no limits. You have no limits. As you begin to get these senses in your feeling body, it will begin to give you somewhat of a bridge between your spirit world and your physical world that you are really... The tape here just begins to fade because I ended the thought. And now I would like to explain another little thing that I've done here in the tape. This is a day later. The explanation of the suns and things of that, if you go back and listen to this part of the tape again, you will notice that what I did was I gave a series of thoughts without actually connecting anything together. It's a technique that I'm experimenting with, and I'm using it a little bit now, to produce a bunch of pictures in my mind and then staccato words. In other words, using the word suns and actually never really defining what it was. Like perhaps it was just a cell emanating quality. And I followed through that little talk a singular thought pattern that I kept producing pictures with, and yet never really enunciated clearly enough to give you an idea on what I was actually talking about. However, I produced a feeling within the tape. I had to wait a day before I could continue with this tape. I had to sit, put my head in a different headspace, wait for the following day, which is today, and then listen to the tape again to see if the picture that I was trying to project, because there is something that locks everything together, was actually felt. I felt it and sensed that it was in there, and I would like to get some feedback from you dealing with the little techniques that I've placed throughout all of the tapes this year. If you've noticed on some of the tapes, there were places where it sounded like I talked over something or I gargled through something. That was naturally Dennis just playing Dennis, and put something into the tape that I wanted to see if it had the ability to get through in a picture or a form or a concept or an idea. Basically what I described earlier by talking about suns is that God is an ever-expanding essence. Love is an ever-expanding essence. Love creates things to grow, to be nurtured, to continue. Because we are like and made to the image of God, we are therefore always ever expanding, and we are ever expanding into our higher selves, learning more about the physical plane and extending into our spiritual avenues. I use the sun as a point of light, a point of heat, and it produces rays that hit the planet and create warmth and growth and trees and animals and man. And man also is like that sun, because with his thoughts, he creates his worlds around him, his house, his car, his job, his wife, his children, her husband, the kids, the environments. And we each create, as a human being, these worlds, and they are emanated by different qualities or different rays, just like the sun emanates rays, just like Godness emanates qualities of lovingness. And so I was producing a picture between God ever expanding, you ever expanding, God ever expanding lovingly, you ever expanding by learning the lessons and paying attention to what is happening to you at every moment in time during the day. The sun is watching its expanding planets, its expanding worlds. For millions of years, it has watched life change forms on planets based on its heat, based on gamma rays, based on X-rays, based on ultraviolet rays. It has learned to grow and see what its different rays have done on different planets. How the rays can grow, how it can change, how it can do all of these things. The planet is a state of consciousness that has watched For millions of years, its children, its planets, the life on all of its planets, go through millions of years worth of evolution, things that human beings don't even record, or aliens don't even record. The things that the sun has recorded as she's been here, growing and learning. She has grown planets to see them, to grow from them. To her, a planet was nothing more than a lesson in life, a relationship. We, as human beings, we are those suns. We are now growing the same way she did. We are looking at other human beings, other planets, other moons, so to speak, as they grow, as they expand, and seeing how they change due to what we think and what we say. Our rays, our gamma rays, our energy rays, our hate rays, our love rays, our sympathy rays, our concerning rays. I guess I'm expanding into different thoughts, and I've been observing how the sun really feeds us, and how the sun not only feeds us, but it feeds all of the planets within our solar system. And for millions of years it has fed us, and it has shown different avenues of itself and growth and life and concepts, things that we don't even have an idea of. That's through this form of consciousness as the sun, it is watched by sending out rays. It was a child, a baby, it learned, just like we learned as a child and baby, ever expanding, ever trying to learn to grab the fundamentals of life, to grab the understandings of who we are and what we are. I know that everything is our reflection, and so I've been learning and learning and learning by observing the micro and the macro, living in the woods and pulling in the universal laws. The things that seem to be underlying in all things, like the sun, the moon, the stars, our movement through time and space, our understanding of how the sun just radiates all of its qualities, is in direct relationship as to how we radiate all our qualities out to the universe. We grow, we love, we expand. When we hate and we deny and we get into those other avenues, I notice that there is a format of decaying, but that also is imperfection. Because right or wrong, things just grow. The key is to know that as a life being, you are just growing. Not right, not wrong, but just growing eternally, forever. You see, you are God. And as you see all of these things grow in front of you, you will know that because you were made in the image and likeness of God, that someday you will at least be like the sun, the one that's up in the sky. And it's been around for millions of years because it's also made in the reflection of God. It is ever expanding, it is ever expanding light. And then you will go from the sun to whatever created the sun. And we will grow as did all of the planets and stars and moons and life essence, because we are an ever-growing universe that is always expanding, and it is based on love and caring. And we use those principles in our lives. We shine and we glow. And you know what? Our worlds begin to shine and glow. Our children begin to shine and glow. The people around us begin to shine and glow, because as a sun, you begin to notice who you really are, and that all your rays of love and hate and thoughts and feelings, they're all rays, just like gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet rays. Our thoughts are comprised of colors. Our joyful thoughts naturally are in the joyful color range. Our darker thoughts are naturally in the darker ranges. That's why common sense tells you that's how it works. Life, power of observation. Be aware of the obvious. Know who it is that you are at all times. Know that because we're told we're made in the image of likeness of God, simply put, therefore, we're God. Jesus stated in the Gospels, "Don't ye know that ye are gods? Have ye forgotten?" Nah, not really, God. We're just sort of checking out the physical plane. Whew. Thought I had forgotten. Nah. None of us have ever forgotten. We are just learning and growing. I am here to encourage your divinity. I am here to encourage your God growth. It is my point for being alive, to let you know that you can have as much joy and as much love as you want. And the reason I say that is because that's what I'm doing in my life. And I'm feeling warm and glowing like a sun. I'm watching my world reflect lovingness and caringness. I'm knowing that I'm not judging, and therefore my world is not judging me. If I need to judge myself, or if I need to check out a concept, all I have to do is look at the world, and the world will tell me exactly what I'm doing. I've learned to not judge. I've learned to just see all of the things that are happening in my world, whether I like it or not. And I'm learning to not judge them, and I'm learning to say, hey, I created it, so whether I like it or not, I should just enjoy it and get the growth from it. And learn how to see myself without blaming myself, knowing that I am worthy of all of these lessons. Because these lessons are here to show me, to grow me. And I am honored to be these lessons. I am honored to share in these things. I'm God. Well, gods, I'm going to buzz ahead to the other side of this tape, and I'll meet you there. Thanks a lot. Well, hello there once again. Yes, indeed. It's the December tape, and we're talking about ourselves being God. And we're talking about our world that we're looking at. Our reflection. See, it's been a year. It's been an amazing year. I've been with you for a year. It's been the most amazing year for me ever. I've grown in awareness. I've had self-realization. I've manifested qualities of divinity, not only for myself, but those people, all those people who were there at the time. It's no longer segregated. If you're there and it's happening, you happen. You are manifesting God. People around me have been manifesting Godness. I'm seeing the reflection of what it is that we're placing out there in the universe. The December, if you've watched December at all, was an amazing month. I noticed that there was a lot of lower back pains for people. I know that we really went through our growth through December. I'm basically glad it's over as a personality, because for me, as a personality, it was a son of a gun. Lessons were flying like crazy. I was creating like a maniac, and some of the things that I was creating was not the most fun things. I had a day of depression that was the most awesome day in my life. I actually woke up in fear, thinking that I couldn't do something, thinking that I didn't know what was going on. Major realizations for me. I drove up the mountain, and of course as I got up here, the fears disappeared. But I was able to see how all of a sudden, if we don't trust ourselves for one split second, if we come out of the divine after we've really learned to experience as the divine and God and trust in ourselves, and we accept fear and depression, whoa, what an awesome experience. Whew. I am so honored to be alive. We as a human race are so honored to be alive at this moment in time. I know that for us that are putting out the time and effort to be godless, to be godlike, not godless, woo! Yeah, to be godless, because then you're really truly the totality, because then you're not even identifying God. You just are. Whew. Little rush of coldness too. Oh wow, look at that snowflake. I'm just watching snowflakes form on me here. It's magnificent. I'm very excited with the new year, as you can tell. I'm very excited with you because I know that you've been growing all year. I can feel it. I'm excited about it. I know December might or might not have been a rough month for you, but if you've paid attention to it, the growth is amazing. The growth is astounding. I noticed that even though I was in some unusual pain there for a little bit,